The moment Ellie said those words, standing in the hallway between our apartments, time seemed to freeze. Her eyes, usually bright with friendly warmth, now held something deeper, something I'd been too blind to see for the past 3 years. She doesn't love you like I do. 6 words that would change everything between us. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're jumping into what might be the most personal story I've ever shared. Before I dive in, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe if you want more real-life stories that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about love and the people around you. Trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end of this one. I never thought my life would turn into something worthy of a romance novel. I was just an ordinary guy named James, living in apartment 4B, working as a graphic designer, and trying to navigate the dating scene in Chicago like everyone else. My neighbor Ellie had been there since I moved in 3 years ago. She was the first person to welcome me to the building with a plate of chocolate chip cookies that were slightly burnt around the edges. She'd laughed about it, saying baking wasn't her strong suit, but she wanted to be neighborly. From that day forward, we developed the kind of easy friendship that comes naturally when you live 15 feet away from someone. We'd collect each other's packages when one of us was out of town. We'd text if the building's heating went out again or if the elevator was stuck. Sometimes we'd run into each other in the laundry room and end up talking for an hour while our clothes tumbled in the dryers. Ellie was just there. Constant. Reliable. A fixture in my life I never questioned. She knew about my dating disasters. The woman who turned out to be married. The one who ghosted me after 3 seemingly perfect dates. The brief relationship with Megan that fizzled out after 2 months because we wanted different things. Ellie would listen to these stories over impromptu dinners in her apartment or mine, offering sympathy and advice, always encouraging me to keep trying. The right one is out there, James, she'd say, refilling my wine glass. She just hasn't found you yet. I never noticed how her smile would falter slightly when she said things like that. I never caught the way her eyes would linger on me when she thought I wasn't looking. I was oblivious to the signs that were right in front of me for years. Then came Sophia. I met her at a friend's gallery opening, and there was an immediate spark. She was beautiful, ambitious, working as an editor at a prestigious publishing house. Our first date lasted 5 hours, from coffee to dinner to drinks, neither of us wanting the night to end. By the 3rd date, I was already imagining a future with her. By the 5th, I was telling Ellie that Sophia might be the one. That's great, Ellie had said, her voice oddly flat. I'm happy for you. I didn't pick up on it then. I was too caught up in the whirlwind of new love, the intoxicating feeling of possibility that comes with it. Sophia and I had been dating for 2 months when things started to shift. The texts became less frequent. The dates were postponed or cut short because of work emergencies. I told myself this was normal, that the honeymoon phase was ending and real life was setting in. Then came that Friday night. Sophia and I had dinner reservations at a restaurant I'd been trying to get into for weeks. I'd dressed carefully, even bought a new shirt for the occasion. I was planning to tell her I loved her for the first time. But 20 minutes before I was supposed to pick her up, she called. James, I'm so sorry, she said, her voice rushed. I can't make it tonight. There's a manuscript crisis and my author is freaking out. I need to handle this. Can't someone else deal with it? I asked, trying to keep the disappointment from my voice. No, it has to be me. He specifically asked for me. There was a pause. I'll make it up to you, I promise. I hung up feeling deflated. It was the 3rd canceled date in 2 weeks. I changed out of my new shirt, put on a t-shirt and jeans, and decided to order takeout instead. As I was walking back from picking up my food, I ran into Ellie in the hallway. She was dressed up, clearly heading out for the night, looking more beautiful than I'd ever noticed before in a simple black dress that hugged her curves perfectly. Hot date? I asked, trying to sound cheerful despite my own disappointment. Her cheeks flushed slightly. Just drinks with some work friends. What about you? I thought you were seeing Sophia tonight. She cancelled. Work emergency. I couldn't keep the bitterness from my voice. Ellie's expression softened. I'm sorry, James. That sucks. It's fine. It happens. I shrugged, holding up my takeout bag. More pad thai for me. Do you want company? She offered. I can cancel my plans. It's nothing important. I should have said no. I should have told her to go have fun with her friends. But the thought of sitting alone in my apartment, dwelling on Sophia's cancellation, was too depressing. Are you sure? I asked. I don't want to ruin your night. You could never ruin my night, she said with a smile that reached her eyes. Let me just change and I'll be right over. 20 minutes later, we were sitting on my couch, containers of Thai food spread out on the coffee table, a bottle of wine open between us. It felt comfortable, familiar. Ellie had changed into leggings and an oversized sweater, her makeup still perfect from her planned night out, her hair falling in soft waves around her face. We talked about everything and nothing, her job at the architectural firm, my latest design project, the weird guy who had moved into apartment 2A and played the saxophone at 3 a.m. It was easy, the way it had always been with Ellie. I found myself relaxing, the disappointment of Sophia's cancellation fading. After our second glass of wine, Ellie asked the question I'd been avoiding. So, things with Sophia, they're not going as well as you hoped? I sighed, leaning back against the couch. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. She's busy, I get that. Her career is important to her. But? Ellie prompted, knowing there was more. But I feel like I'm always the one making the effort. I'm always the one suggesting dates, making plans, reaching out. And lately, it feels like she's always finding reasons to cancel or cut things short. I ran a hand through my hair in frustration. I was going to tell her I love her tonight. Something flickered across Ellie's face, pain, maybe? But it was gone so quickly I thought I'd imagined it. Do you? She asked quietly. Love her? I hesitated, which was an answer in itself. I thought I did. Now I'm not so sure. Ellie nodded, taking a sip of her wine. Love shouldn't be this hard, James. Not at the beginning. Maybe you're right. I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt a surge of gratitude. Thanks for being here, Ellie. You're always here when I need someone. That's what friends are for, she said, but there was something in her voice, a slight tremor that caught my attention. You're more than just a friend, I said, meaning it as a compliment. I don't know. You're important to me. Her eyes met mine, and for a moment, I saw something there I'd never noticed before, a depth of feeling that made my breath catch. Then she looked away, setting her wine glass down. I should probably go, she said, starting to stand. It's getting late. I reached out, catching her hand without thinking. Stay. We can watch a movie or something. Unless you're tired? She hesitated, then sat back down, closer to me this time. What do you want to watch? We settled on an old favorite we'd both seen before, something comfortable and familiar like our friendship. As the movie played, I found myself more aware of Ellie than the screen, the way she laughed at all the right moments, the subtle floral scent of her perfume, how right it felt to have her there beside me. Halfway through the film, my phone buzzed with a text. It was Sophia, crisis averted. Still up? I could come over. 2 months ago, that text would have made my heart race with excitement. Now, I felt only a mild annoyance at the interruption. I glanced at Ellie, who was engrossed in the movie, her profile illuminated by the soft glow of the TV screen. Without replying to Sophia, I put my phone away. When the movie ended, Ellie stretched and stood up. I should head home. Thanks for letting me crash your pity party, she teased. It wasn't a pity party once you showed up, I said, walking her to the door. It was just a regular Friday night with my favorite neighbor. She smiled, but there was something sad in it. Good night, James. I don't know what made me say it, maybe the wine, maybe the lingering disappointment over Sophia, maybe the way Ellie looked standing in my doorway, but the words came out before I could stop them. I told Sophia I thought I loved her, I said. But I'm not sure she feels the same way. I'm not even sure I feel it anymore. Ellie froze, her hand on the doorknob. She turned back to me slowly, her eyes searching mine. And then she said it, the words that would change everything. She doesn't love you like I do. The silence that followed was deafening. I stared at her, trying to process what she'd just said, what it meant. Ellie's cheeks flushed red, and she looked away, clearly regretting her confession. I'm sorry, she whispered. I shouldn't have said that. Just, forget it, okay? Blame it on the wine. She turned to leave, but I caught her arm, gently pulling her back. How long? I asked, my voice barely audible. She met my eyes then, and I saw the truth there, raw and undeniable. Since the day you moved in with that ridiculous plant you killed within a week. Since you helped me carry my groceries up 4 flights of stairs when the elevator broke. Since every moment in between. She took a shaky breath. Always, James. It's always been you. I don't remember who moved first. All I know is that suddenly she was in my arms, and I was kissing her like I should have been kissing her for the past 3 years. It felt like coming home to a place I didn't know I'd been missing. It felt right in a way nothing ever had before. When we finally broke apart, both breathless, I rested my forehead against hers. I've been so blind, I whispered. She laughed softly, tears shining in her eyes. Yes, you have. Why didn't you ever say anything? Because you never looked at me the way you looked at them, she said simply. And I'd rather have you in my life as a friend than not at all. I brushed a strand of hair from her face, marveling at how I'd never noticed how perfectly she fit in my arms. I'm looking now, I said. And I'm seeing you, Ellie. Really seeing you for the first time. That night changed everything. I ended things with Sophia the next day, explaining as kindly as I could that my heart was elsewhere. She took it better than I expected, admitting that she'd sensed my feelings weren't as strong as I thought they were. Ellie and I took things slowly at first, both afraid of ruining the friendship that meant so much to us. But it quickly became apparent that what we had was something rare and precious, a love built on years of genuine connection, of knowing each other's flaws and loving each other anyway. 6 months later, I asked her to move in with me. A year after that, I proposed in the laundry room where we'd spent countless hours talking while our clothes dried. 2 years after her confession in my doorway, we were married in a small ceremony with our closest friends and family. Sometimes love is dramatic and sudden, hitting you like a lightning bolt. But sometimes, the greatest love stories are the quiet ones that develop slowly over time, built on a foundation of friendship and trust. Sometimes, the love of your life has been right next to you all along, waiting patiently for you to open your eyes and see what's been there from the beginning. Ellie was right that night. Sophia didn't love me the way she did, with a love that had stood the test of time, that had watched me date other women and still remained steadfast, that knew all my flaws and loved me anyway. No one could love me the way Ellie did. And as it turned out, I couldn't love anyone the way I loved her either. So if you're watching this and wondering about that person in your life, that friend who's always there, who knows you better than anyone, who makes you feel like your best self without even trying, maybe it's time to look at them with new eyes. Maybe, just maybe, the greatest love story of your life is already being written, one ordinary day at a time. If this story touched you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more real-life stories that might just change the way you see the world, and the people around you. Sometimes the most extraordinary love stories are happening in the most ordinary places, between people who never expected to find each other even though they were never really lost.